Welcome back to Seriously Funny. I'm your host, Mashnur Kabir, and I hug cacti. I'm recording this a day after the last episode, so this is a little extra work than I'm used to, which is interesting because I usually run my life through a pretty stable schedule, so we're throwing a wrench into that. I have an event to do on one of my games as well today, so hopefully we can fit everything in today, which we will. It's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great. But yeah, the title should be telling you what we're talking about. Why you think you're not good enough. To start, I want to bring attention to one of the reasons that this could be such a big phenomenon these days. We see all these things around us. I hate blaming social media. I hate putting blame on that. I hate saying social media is the reason the world's going to crap. I don't believe that. But yeah, I think the things around us, it does have an effect on feeling the way we do about ourselves. We watch these YouTube videos by Matt Diavella, by Thomas Frank, by Ali Abdal, Matthew Drew, Nathaniel Drew, Dr. K, and they seem so put together. They seem like their lives are just they seem great. They make these productivity videos and they do 500 things at a time and they make $5 billion a second. I mean, they seem so great. And all the aforementioned people are amazing, by the way. If you don't watch them, I highly recommend you do. Beautiful, beautiful videos and great videos in general. Go give them a watch. But yeah, no matter how many times they say, oh, I do this too, or I'm just like you think, no, you're not just like me. I don't have the clout you do, the money you do, the success you do. I'm not as good as you. And there's actually a name for this. It's the survivorship bias. And what this bias says is that we only see those that have made it past some selection process. And that means we see the people who've succeeded and not the people who failed. We follow people with hundreds of thousands of followers and compare ourselves to them. We don't follow the people with 10 followers, and if we do, we definitely don't compare ourselves to them, usually at least. Do the last thing I said there, with the 10 followers person. I hypothesize that we love to compare ourselves to people who we perceive as better than us, but most people don't compare themselves to people who we perceive or they perceive as worse than us or them. And I think there's support for this probably somewhere in some sort of psychology or some sort of study. I don't have the source at the moment, so uh, sorry, but yeah, we look at the people above us and we think we want to be there. We push ourselves into thought loops that support the idea that I'm not good enough. And last week we talked about self-awareness and quote fixing something end quote, and I said I'd talk about it next week. And so this is it for you guys. I mean, for me it's been a day, for you guys it's been a week if you're listening as this comes out. And so this week I want to expand on that idea of quote getting better end quote. So creation and evolution to introduce it's the purpose of life. Okay, so evolution, however, it doesn't simply mean change. Evolution doesn't mean just to change. I don't know if it even means just to grow. But I mean, to one extent, yes. By like the raw definition of grow, yes. But by most people's definitions, no. But yeah, anyways, evolution is a natural process. Okay, it's the natural process in which something adapts or it becomes better adept at performing something. It's a thing that happens. It's a thing that just happens by itself. Some giraffes were like, oh crap, there's some nice effing fruits in the big old tree. And then small neck giraffes just, they thought, man, I want to get those fruits at the big old tree. A few years later, now we got big neck giraffes. I don't know how their tongues became black, but we got big neck giraffes. Anyways, getting better, like the idea of getting better, that insinuates that you're not good enough. You wouldn't have to get better if you were good enough, right? Why would you why would you get better if you're good enough? And that's a very destructive thought, that you're not good enough and that you have to be better, that you have to get better. And trying to move forward with the idea that you're not good enough not only makes it harder for you to move forward, to grow, to evolve, but it's like chasing a carrot on a treadmill. You will never be good enough by that definition, by your definition. You're never going to get the carrot. You're never going to get there. You're just going to keep running and running and running and running. And one day you get tired and then you slip and then you fall off the treadmill and then you get hurt really bad. And that might be funny and dumb analogy, but unfortunately it holds a little more truth than many of us would like to admit. And coming back to evolution, evolution doesn't have anything to do with being good enough. It's simply a process. That's all it is. A process that runs off of self awareness, not by thinking that you're not good enough. And to expand on how it's harder, if you tell yourself that you're not good enough, that doesn't help you grow. While some people sport the doubt or sport that the doubt of other people and the belief that they're not good enough is what pushes them to grow every day, those people have another problem that we'll get to. The that belief that you're not good enough or believing that you have to be better, it pushes you towards nothing. You're chasing a false goal that you will never reach. And that takes us to the next idea. You are never going to be good enough. Okay, wait, before you leave, that's probably not very inspirational on the first listen. That's not inspirational on any listen. Okay, that's depressing, right? But don't leave me yet. All right, hold on. You're never going to be good enough. You're never going to be good enough. And if you tell yourself that and you use that as fuel to grow, if you tell yourself that you aren't good enough and that you need to be, if you tell yourself that and you use that as fuel to grow and push yourself towards nothing, like we just said, the people that are moving toward forward with the idea that they're not good enough, you'll never get to a point ever, no matter how much you grow, no matter anything, no matter how much money you make, no matter how whatever, where you can look back and you can say, now I'm good enough. You're never going to make enough money. You'll never be healthy enough. You'll never be good enough. And psychology supports this. You may have heard of the hedonic treadmill. This idea in psychology states that as you grow, your equilibrium grows with you. Or for example, if you make $5,000, then $20,000 is a lot of money, right? But if you make $20,000 after that, then $60,000 is a lot of money. You don't have a lot of money, you just have $20,000. 60,000 is a lot. Then you make $60,000, but you still don't have a lot of money. Even though it was a lot of money, it's not a lot of money now. It's just what you have. A lot of money is $100,000. Your brain naturally just wants more. That's just how it's built. That's just how it's naturally wired. That's just the first route that it wants to follow. And it only looks up. You'll never have enough and you'll never be good enough. Now let me tell you why you're never going to be good enough. Because right now, you're enough. You are enough. And some people hear this and recoil. Why should I grow? How can I grow if I'm enough? And maybe you shouldn't. You thought about that one? Maybe you shouldn't grow. Maybe you shouldn't work to change. Maybe you shouldn't have to get better. Maybe you should just watch yourself. Maybe you should get to know yourself and just how enough you are. Because you're amazing. You are enough. Just get to know yourself. Become aware of yourself, like we talked about last week. Just know who you are. Get to know yourself. Sit with yourself. Look at yourself. Be with yourself. And as you do that, first you will realize that you are enough. And you're fine, just as you are. You're okay. It's great. You are wonderful. It's backwards, right? I mean, it makes no sense what I'm going to say here. But when you believe that, and you believe that you are enough, when you start with the idea that you are enough, your life will be better. You'll evolve faster. You'll feel better. And you will be enough. If you don't believe me, try it for a month. Instead of hating yourself because I'm not successful enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't do enough, for a month, start with the idea, I am enough. And so the idea was to end it there, but I've only gone for 11 minutes. So what do I talk about for like 9 minutes now? I'm curious. I wonder. So we can talk about music. We can talk about yeah, music. I don't know what there is to talk about. I think we talked about Savage, the EP by the Kid Leroy, not a few, like 1 week ago. So yeah, that's a thing. Twitch streaming, I think I talked about that a few episodes ago. So I streamed like once, but my Wi-Fi is garbage, horrible. Like, to one extent, it's like, oh, don't worry about what you have and don't have. Sometimes you very literally don't have the ability to do something. So yeah, I quite literally cannot stream. Like the quality will just be too bad. Like it's unwatchable. Um, so that's fun. That's the thing. Yeah, that's why that hasn't been happening. Maybe one day we'll get better Wi-Fi. I'll have better Wi-Fi, and we'll do that. Except I think one day I'll also be in a monastery or an ashram or a monk somewhere. So I don't think I'll have Wi-Fi at all. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's why the Twitch streaming didn't happen. With Twitch streaming though, gaming, yeah, gaming. I said I have an event today on one of my games. Genshin Impact. That's what I've been playing. I don't. Yeah, it's a great game, very colorful. If you like anime, if you're into that, wonderful game, beautiful game. Yeah, really colorful, really well designed. It's a very good looking game. Have an event there. Gonna get a free character. It's gonna be great. And yeah, that's gonna be cool. But the second part of the event is actually on next Monday, and I'm supposed to be on my dopamine detox. And I think I'm not gonna take a cheat day, but I think I will get on, finish that event real quick, and hop off. Just yeah, I gotta do that. Sorry. So when we do talk about a dopamine detox, I will very much clarify that one day for like probably 30 minutes to an hour, I did indeed get on a game, and I had that hit of dopamine there. So yeah, that's gonna be my cheat there. So yeah, that'll be quite the time. And what else do we have to talk about? The YouTube channel. So I think this podcast in itself, this could have been a YouTube video, and I think at one point maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Not sure. We'll see. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be interesting. I still need to get a tripod, so I think I'm gonna use my phone as a camera. Not I think I will use my phone as a camera. I do want to make a video at some point. Um, yeah, I think I have to make an intro video. Who am I? That'll be fun. Need to make a new email, start a new like fresh channel, and that'll be fun. That'll be great. Hopefully that goes well. I think I also need to learn how to edit videos. I got DaVinci Resolve, free editing software. It's pretty good, but I have no idea what it's showing or what it's doing. It's very complicated, and I have never actually. I use Sony Vegas, and I actually edited like I used to edit a lot of things. I kind of just pressed a bunch of buttons and it just came out okay. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I have to learn that. So yeah, there are a lot of steps in doing things, and I know oftentimes, and probably in the future, I'm gonna support things like, oh, you just have to go do it. Yeah, yeah, you do. Practically speaking, though, you got to learn stuff to do it. But as long as you actually do go do that learning, it's a process, right? One step at a time. Just take every effing step. I want to talk about inertia a little bit. So inertia is Newton's first law of motion, and it states that an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force. Meaning like, you throw something and gravity acts on it, so it stops at some point. But in space, if you threw something, it would keep moving unless gravity or something else acted upon it. But it would just keep on going and going forever because there would be no forces on it other than that initial force that would get it moving, that would give it a velocity or an acceleration. So yeah, yeah. Anyways, inertia, yeah. So in life, I think that translates to quite a valuable lesson in which it's a lot harder to start than it is to keep going. If you can start, if you can just take the first step, if you can just get up, write the first line of code to your game, if you can just get up and just hit the record button on that first video, if you can just get up and hit the record button for your first podcast, here we are today. It's a lot easier to continue going. It's a lot easier to continue doing. And how many years ago was it? It's November now. About 4 years. I was gonna say 16 years ago. It's November 16th right now, so that's where that came from. And it was about 4 years ago. I had a weird idea, and it was I want to write something. I don't know what. but just something. I'm gonna go type it. I'm gonna go slap on a keyboard, and see what happens. And then randomly, I got a like 2.5 page or 3 page paper that had a big old title on it, and it was new things, and that was my first blog. So it wasn't actually, I wrote it on a Google Doc, right? I said, that's it. I just ended up on a Google Doc. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, it's not bad, pretty solid. And so I shared it to like Facebook, I think. And it got a view or two. And I was like, or some people clicked on the link, and I'm like, ah, cool. But no one's ever going to, like, you can't Google a Google Docs, I don't think. So I wrote a few more. I wrote like one, I wrote like two, I wrote like three, and then four. And then I just kept writing. And I was like, I can't write every day, although I'd want to. I can't write every day. I'll run out of ideas. And the first day I wrote was a Friday. So I was like, I'll write out on every Friday. And now we have, then randomly, I was like, all right, I gotta make something that people can find all of these writings and stuff. So then we went to a website building website, and we built a website, and that became the blog. And then I just kept updating that every week. Uh, Sometimes you have urges to do things. Highly encourage you to do those things. That's going to be the moral of that story. But yeah, that was great. I mean, that's probably one of the things that brought me to where we are now. I mean, this podcast, when I share the link, I think I usually use the website. 4 years later, I still don't have a domain. Maybe I should get on that. Maybe I should. Yeah, still unemployed. So we need to figure that one out first. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Yeah, other than that, how much more is there to say? Do I just make this a really short episode? We're only at like 18 or 19 minutes, and I'm gonna have to cut out a fair bit of it because I messed up on like half the things I said. And yeah, man, I really went way too fast on that. I don't know who's listening anymore. At this point, I'm kind of just rambling on about nothing. But yeah, I'm really interested to write with my dopamine detox. I think that's gonna be fun. Like, I'm not gonna do much, and I told myself I'd let myself read, but I don't want to let myself do that too much. So what I'm reading right now is fictional. So I think the amount of satisfaction that comes from that is actually too high. I do have a nonfiction book that I haven't finished, and so that is out of order. Perhaps, sorry, I just looked at my bookshelf and thought books are all in the wrong place. Well, this one, The Soulful Art of Persuasion by Jason Harris. Yeah, that's what I'm reading next. So that's yeah, I might do that over the all these books are gonna fall one day. All right, anyways, yeah, I might do that over the dopamine detox. I think I'm gonna finish that book up. I mean, I have a lot of time to read, so yeah, hopefully we'll finish that up. Get some reading done on my light novels on the fiction. So that'll be cool. But yeah, I'm really excited to just like sit there. Well, for a few days, why did I stutter so much? For a few days, I'm just gonna sit there and like stare at a wall or a door. I don't know. Just be with myself for a bit and see what comes out of that. And then after that, for like 2 days, I think I'm like 2 days straight. I think I'm just gonna completely just nothing, and then I will yeah get out the pen and the paper and start writing stuff down. So that's going to be really fun because I haven't done that in a long time. Some nice pen paper, just the original. I mean, I love my iPad. The iPad is great. Don't get me wrong. I love my pencil, but man, paper and pencil or paper and pen, it's just something else. It's just something else, man. Highly recommend that if you haven't written on paper and pencil or paper and pen in a long time, go do that. Just go write something dumb. Go doodle. The feeling is just incredible. Anyways, we've hit a fair amount of time. I think it's still going to get cut down a lot because I have a lot of empty space. And while I was playing with my books over there, I don't know how loud that was, and I might just cut all that out. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Other than that, um, what do I have here? I did write this outro, and so yeah, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it here. So, anyways, I think this was a great episode. The first part, the first half of it. Anyways, and I hope you liked the first part, and maybe you liked my ramblings. I think that a lot of people could benefit from this one. especially the younger generation, which they seem to be struggling with their sense of self a lot. So, as always, please share this episode. If not, just give it a rating on wherever you're listening. Write a comment, write a review. I wanna hear how you guys feel about this. I see some 5 stars over there on my Apple Podcasts and stuff. Haven't opened to Spotify or anything, but I want to see some reviews. I want to see what people think. So shoot that in the review section. I don't know how many people listen to this that I don't know, but yeah, I think I have like 11, 12 listeners. Anchor's telling me about. That's the estimated. So yeah, I don't know how if I know 11 or 12 people that listen to this, but if you're listening to this and I don't know you personally, I am very glad and grateful that you're listening. Anyways, I love you just the way you are because you're enough. And thank you for listening. And peace.